Connor. He's the City of Wisconsin Rapids GIS coordinator. Let's see here. His abstract that he supplied, sure. There's dozens of programming languages available on Automate Work, but honestly, who has time to learn them all? So for those of us who know enough to be dangerous, there are ways to automate without programming. I will walk you through a couple scenarios I created using Survey123 and Integromat. The same basic principles apply to Microsoft Power Automate as well. So whether it be Integromat, I think that's what it's supposed to be, or Power Automate, I hope this session encourages you to automate workflows without the need of programming. Thank you. Thanks, Justin, for presenting here today.
All right, can you hear me, Scott?
Yes, I can.
Okay, and let's see. Can I have a request, or you just give it to me?
You just do it. Share content. There's a leave button at the top right, and then the square box with the arrow.
Screen one. All right, how's that?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, can you, I guess you can see my web browser here, City of Wisconsin Rapids, Scott?
Yes, yep, you can.
All right, cool. So what I wanted to share is a little thing I put together for our Department of Public Works. They needed a, well, they had a really kind of outdated and cumbersome way of sending out street closures. And so with the help of Survey123, using the feature reports and also Integromat, we basically cut that down into filling out a form, and it gets sent out to an email group and also posted on Facebook. So I just want to go kind of how I put that together, and hopefully I have enough time I can show you some of these other things that I've been playing with, and kind of show you how you can kind of quasi program and automate a lot of scenarios that you might encounter. So so what I have is a street closure, the Survey123. I'm not going to go into how I made that. I think you probably have a good feeling of how to go about that. But basically all I have here is, you know, a map where you would draw out what closure you have, street name, what type, description, and all that information. You hit submit, and that's really all the engineer has to do to send out that street closure. Where prior to that, they would, you know, open up ArcMap, draw out their closure, save a PDF or JPEG, get that attached to an email, write up an email, and all that sort of thing. Where this just does it all right away for you. So in the background here is a Survey123. So if you entered in that survey, this is the data that is posted back there. So again, you got the street name and closure and start time, end time, and that sort of thing. And Survey123 takes that information and will create a feature report. And if you haven't played with feature reports yet, they're really awesome. To do that, you would just kind of hit Manage Templates here. You can hit New Templates, select a file, or you can download a sample template, and that'll take your feature layer, put in all of the field types, field names and everything, and without any real formatting, but it'll at least get you a place to start. And all that is a Word document. So these little curly Q dollar signs here, these are your field names. So, you know, again, create your template, put in your field names, make sure you leave enough room for, you know, the amount of text that you're going to be in there. And sometimes you got to play around with that too, to limit the amount of text that the survey will accept, so that you don't run out of space here in your template. And then on the bottom here is, these are the maps, or the map, I should say. So this long code here, that is the ArcGIS Inline map document that's created. Got the scale, the scale and the size of the map here. So that's about all that template is. And so this is kind of, again, all the background stuff here that will kind of come into play once we get into Integromat. So into Integromat, so kind of learned one thing from the WLA one, that kind of have this all set up and ready to go. So that last time I kind of fumbled around with it a little bit, and took a lot longer than I wanted. So so to create a webhook, really quite easy. What I'll have you do is you'd hit add, and you'll have the ArcGIS Inline connection. So again, this is just like logging into ArcGIS Inline. What survey that you have here, so you've got a demo street closure. You can have add data. I haven't played with the edit data quite yet, but what these are triggers. So when you hit your survey submit, when you add data, that's your submittal, and then that'll populate that for you. So, and I should show you this address here. So this web address, this is what basically all that links you back to Survey 123. So back here in Survey 123, this is the webhook, and this link here is the same that you see here. Oops. It's the same that you'll see here in Survey 123. So that's basically that's the connection, and all that is a URL that is just sitting there waiting to listen to when a survey comes through. And that's all it does. It listens, and then when a survey is sent, that payload of information is sent from Survey 123 to Integromat. So when we with all this set up here, we'll go into our next module here, which is to create a report. So this is going to create that feature report once we get the field loaded here. So again, we've got our ArcGIS Inline connection. We can pick what survey that we want to listen to. So here's our demo street closure. This is the template that I have. And this is the survey layer, so there's this one there. Now when these, when you see these are in green here, highlighted in green, these come from the previous response. So kind of similar to a model builder, if you play around with that, kind of a similar way where it kind of daisy chains and you get information from the previous step. So this is the feature object ID, so we know which, basically which polygon to put in our map, or which object ID, I should say, to get information from. What format we want to output in, street name and closure. So this is going to be the name of that report. And then everything comes in UTC time. So depending on daylight saving time or not, you can pick, see, we're 5 hours off right now. This is supposed to, well, let's see, I can show you here. If you don't hit map, you're supposed to be able to just pick central time and kind of walk away from it. But I've found that it doesn't follow daylight savings for some dumb reason, and it's supposed to, but I don't know. So anyhow, I've got it hard coded, I guess you can say, and that's how that works. So otherwise, we'll send out a street closure, and right after daylight savings time, then I'll get an email saying, hey, it's an hour off, and yeah. So anyhow, it's supposed to be fixed. It hasn't been, but just be aware of that if you use time. And I don't know if it's on Esri's end or on Integromat's end, but yeah. So this is when I first started, this was the one that really kind of got me tripped up a little bit. And this HTTP is where you know, like it says, get a file. So we're getting a file. This is the resulting PDF or Word document that is created in Survey 123. So kind of took me a little bit of time to figure out exactly what it is, and actually I found a very good recording by Ishmael on the Esri help, and yeah, so you want to take a look at that. But what we're doing here is we're looking at the result inflow to the create report. So we're looking in here, and then result files, and then the URL. So that URL is going to be the web address that takes you right to that Word document or PDF. So, and all of this stuff here is what comes over basically from that webhook information. So right there. So Cloud Converts is the next step, because what I wanted to do is, well, this is optimizing a file. So I was having issues with the file size becoming too large, and it would either time out or wouldn't post to Facebook, or sometimes it wouldn't email right or whatever. So I input this one in here to optimize that file, and basically it was just kind of shrinking it down, optimizing it for the web. Now, Cloud Convert is it's a free it's a free web service. If you if you get crazy, and I don't know what the threshold is, but if you do thousands of operations a day, then you'd probably have to pay. But I've never come anywhere near that, so essentially it's free. So we got that set up to basically shrink our PDF file, and let me hit the download here, so that brings it back down to where we can send it on to the next step. So from there, we're going to take that file and we're going to route it. So one step, we're routing it to Gmail. So what this will do here, and I've got it set up just to send me an email, because obviously I don't want to send it out to that Streets group. But I have a Google group set up with a form on our website where people can submit their email and sign up for these alerts. So what that'll do is, well, I'll put that in here with this blind copy, so that way nobody can respond to it. They don't know what the email address is for that Google group. But like I said, I just have this set to my email. You could, depending on the different scenario, you could actually get a email address from your survey. So if, say you had something set up where you wanted to respond to an individual email address, whoever filled out that survey, you can have that in your survey information in one of your attributes. And so say, like this contact email, this is actually one of the engineer's email. But if you wanted to include that in there, so that when you fill out the form, it would send an email to that address on the form, you can actually do that on here. So subject is the subject of the email. So I've got it as a street closure notice with the street name. And again, you could pull in information from your survey to fill out the subject as well. So you can really get crazy with customizing all this, is basically what I'm hinting at here. And the content of your email. So the email itself, you could pull in like I have here. Again, you can go crazy with this as well, but I haven't quite yet. But so all this is doing is a href, basically a link, an HTML link, and I have a operations, just a dashboard set up right now. So this closure, this object ID will join this link here, and they'll take you right to the dashboard and zoom right into that closure. So it's kind of a handy feature there. And again, just some information on who to contact and who to email and stuff. So another spot that might kind of trip you up is, so you need to attach that PDF document, right, to the email. And how do you get that? Well, you're going to add the attachment, and you're going to come over, right, so this is the name and everything. The data is where you want, that's what the attachment is. And you're getting that from, like here, I'm getting it from optimized file, all right? The first couple times around, I thought it was the URL and it wasn't working, and it's just, so there's a little bit of trial and error to it, because admittedly, I don't think the help documents are all that great, but you know, you'll get around to it. Like with anything, just Google it, and someone's probably already had that same issue. But so you enter, in this case, data for the attachments. If I wanted to pull it from the HTTP, this one here, again, it would also be data. So there's data in the file name. So yeah, that's that part of the email. And then again, over here, I've got I've got kind of a dummy Facebook page for just my trial and error stuff. But before we do that, we got to take that PDF or Word document, or however you want to get your feature report, and I'm going to use Cloud Convert again, and I am going to convert that into a well, I'm taking that PDF and making it into a PNG so that I can post it out on Facebook. So this one here, I've got import from a URL. So those are my options. So that's why I'm using this temporary URL. So you can see why I was a little confused.
This is a tornado warning. This is only a test. Please proceed.
Oh. All right, tornado warning. That's always fun. So we've got a temporary URL. I don't know if anyone will yell at me from staying in here or not, but we'll see. So yeah, the temporary URL instead of data, so that's why I was a little confused before on the Gmail one. But again, it's just going to take that and post that image to Facebook for me. And again, like I said, I'm changing a PDF to a PNG, and then I'm putting the basically street closure and now. So now is let's see, where are we at here, date. So you can go in here and get a timestamp and now. So these are kind of the pre-baked variables that Integromat has for you. So you can join and flatten, all sorts of stuff that I haven't hardly even touched on yet. But so yeah, so that's that. So this whole thing, oh, and I should mention these ignore circles right here. So these are for errors. So if something errors out, it's going to error out your whole scenario, and it's basically going to stop. And then you're going to get an email or a message saying, "Hey, your service didn't work," right? So, so in order to counteract that, we put in these little flow controls, is what they're called. So I can show a few more later, but basically, ignore is if you get an error, just say and ignore it. So nothing too fancy there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to submit one here, and hopefully this live demo works and I don't get yelled at for not going to the tornado shelter. So so there is the closure we're drawing in here, and I'm just going to put in a bunch of stuff. For construction. So on our live version of this, I have in the map itself, I have different kind of queries set up for if it's a current closure, if it's a future closure, and that sort of thing, and just kind of a fun way fun way, but a nice way to categorize them and make it easier for the public to view them later. All right, and all that stuff there. So I'm gonna hit submit, and hopefully, hopefully that all runs, and hopefully we see an email. So does anyone have any questions, I guess, while I'm waiting for my email to show up? Oh, what did I do wrong? So I must have changed something. Wonderful. No questions? Well, you know, it was working right before this, so I don't know why it's not. All right, let's put a. Oh, all right, here we go. So we'll see which one I get. So while that's running, all right, I guess I wasn't patient. A live demo will do that for you. So, so this is the email I got, and here is the PDF. Again, nothing too fancy because I didn't put a whole lot of information in there. And you can customize the map as well to whatever, you know, however you want it. I have air photo underneath the one on our live version. And yeah, so that's that with the with our road closure one. I've got a few other ones too. If you want to, I think we've got time for it. You can have so they've got templates for you to start from. So you can have if you get emails that you want to put into you know, Google spreadsheets or Excel spreadsheets, you can parse JSON. You can parse emails as well. So let me show you one that I've been working on, because we get Diggers Hotline tickets, and I want to, well, right now I've got it as far as getting it into a spreadsheet, but I need to you know, then get that into ArcGIS Inline, and we're working on that right now. But so get emails from Diggers Hotline, and they come to a specific email address, and you know, they're formatted pretty much well, always the same way. This the pattern here. This is just for a regular expression or regex, and this well, that little guy there will basically give you any email address if it's formatted correctly. And then what I'm telling it to do here is pull in the text content. So I'm telling it to pull in it in the text, or the, you know, the body of the email. And this array aggregator, that's always a tough one to. What it's doing here is it's we're watching the emails here, and this is the little basically that text parser. So it's matching that pattern of that regular expression, and then in Google Sheets, it will pull that information. So no, I haven't ran it in a while, so it's not, it doesn't have that in there. But what it'll do is it'll take each array, like, and you have to tell it to do this, but you take each array to what it needs, a ticket number, ticket type, start, create, and it'll put that into a Google Sheet for you. So some, let's see, some other ones that we've got. So last year we, we did this, with COVID and other things, we were putting different restrictions on our aquatic center, and we wanted to have a dashboard that had attendance and temperature and all that sort of thing up on the display, because one of the criteria of opening the pool is the temperature. So I think it was like 65 degrees, it couldn't open. And then so, how to get a temperature display up on the screen, because, why have a little temperature display when you can actually have it up on the big screen? So decided to pull in an RSS feed from the from weather.gov, and so this is the from the airport, and so you can take that information, again, this text parser, so it's looking for a certain format, and plugging that into Google spreadsheet as well, and then from there I was able to post that and show that up on the display. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff as well. So I guess one question I remember getting from the WLA conference is a lot of people have Microsoft, well, it used to be called Flow in their Office 365 line. And, what's the difference between that and Integromat? And so quite frankly, I haven't been able to use Power Automate as much, simply because I've just run into a lot of barriers. So it's not as friendly with.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Right. So it's not as it didn't seem to have as many templates from outside, I guess, the Microsoft universe. They do have a lot of different. If you use Microsoft quite a bit, so for like SharePoint and OneDrive and all those different things, you probably will find a lot of use for it, but I just haven't quite yet. The one thing I was hoping to be able to do with it was to plug into SQL, because hey, SQL is Microsoft, but well, then it's premium, and even though we're paying Microsoft quite a bit of money for each seat, and we have a SQL Server license, we're on-premise license, well, it's still a premium for Power Automate. So, so that was kind of a bummer, and yeah. I don't know, where am I at on time, Scott? I remember how I started.
You got a couple minutes.
Yeah. So, were there anybody have any questions on any of this, or?
Looks pretty.
Did you have any, Scott?
I like the way it's set up. We have some automated stuff running. I think Claire had set some stuff up. Claire, I don't know. And then we have an addressing application. We did that a few years now, and but we've had a contractor work with it. I don't think this was available back then, so.
Seriously. You guys, please, only you.
All right, see, now I'm getting yelled at for not going anywhere. All right. So I guess I could just touch on, so Integromat is, there is a free level. So if you want to, create an account and start playing with it, you can go ahead and do that. You'll probably reach, an operations limit or some sort of limit, and you'll want the, especially if you're doing it for your workplace. But the basic is pretty cheap. I think it's like $10 a month. Standard 29. And these, a gig, 1 gig transferring. So I mean, this is for the month now, and I've used that 5% of that. and you get 10,000 operations. So it's quite a lot. So like for an operation, so this one here, we've got emails. So if you when you go to the printer and scan something in, it will send that to an email address. So every time this runs, that's an operation, and we're still not, we're not coming anywhere near our 10,000. So I mean, even if we did, then we'd bump it up, and it's still not all that great of a cost. And I find it's pretty slick. There's a lot of other stuff that I do need to get around to working with. There's data stores. You can specify different data structures. So this is one that I've got set up for C-Click Fix. And again, while our C-Click Fix, we get that information through their kind of backdoor API as JSON. And so we've got a data structure so that a scenario can look at the C-Click Fix and pull in that JSON, read it, and then publish it out into a format I can work with. So, so yeah, like I guess like I was saying before, there's a lot of different programming languages out there that you probably do a lot of this stuff through Python and that sort of thing. But I don't know, just to me, I've always liked Model Builder back in the ArcView and on to ArcGIS time. So it's kind of seemed intuitive and easy to create.
No, it's pretty. I can see a lot of good applications for notifications. And you're using feature services or even ArcGIS Online.
Yeah.
So, have you tried to use your feature services as a trigger to versus ArcGIS or Survey 123?
No, not yet. So I would have to create a custom webhook to do that, and I haven't done that yet for a feature service. But I read about it, and I think it seems possible. Yeah. But yeah, I got to look more into that and seeing which way to go with that.
Yeah, it would be. There's lots of uses. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, if you think of something later, feel free to send me an email or give me a call.
Hey, so do you have the link of the website? If not, you can send it later to that training video that you said.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to find that.
That's fine. We can send it out later, put it in our stuff. So that's great. Thank you, Justin. It's very helpful to see some new